All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about what Teddy Atlas had to say about the Errol Spence Ugas fight and his prediction for Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford. Very, very interesting stuff. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're back in the 147, a big hot topic in boxing this week after the fight that took place this weekend between Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas, a 3-belt unification fight for the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF titles. Teddy Atlas, longtime commentator on ESPN, longtime trainer in boxing, one of the most knowledgeable guys in boxing, had talked about the fight and shared some very interesting insights about the Spence fight, something kind of controversial, and also what he thinks would take place with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please accept my invitation to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And here we go. All right, so first things first, Teddy Atlas, I was wondering when somebody was going to say this, but Teddy Atlas talked about the Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas fight and essentially said that he thinks that, or he hinted heavily, tried to be a little political about it, that Errol Spence Jr. might have actually been saved in that fight by the referee because Errol had been hurt longer in that 6th round than people had originally thought. He said that he was watching the fight and he went back again a second time just to check it out and make sure he was right, and that Errol was beating up on Ugas up against the ropes, and then all of a sudden Errol got staggered with a short, crisp right hand on the inside and wobbled back. After he wobbled back, he went back to fighting. They shifted over to Ugas's left, to his left, and that is when Yordenis Ugas got a little uppercut inside and knocked Errol Spence Jr.'s mouthpiece out. Errol looks down at his mouthpiece, and that's when Yordenis Ugas hits him with a really big right hand and knocks him back into the ropes. It's at that point in time where Teddy Atlas starts wondering whether or not the referee saved Errol Spence Jr. by not waiting for a real break in the action to allow Errol Spence Jr. to pick up his mouthpiece, rinse the mouthpiece off, and gave him time to recover, right? Now, what he's saying is that he was hurt before his mouthpiece actually got knocked out, and so he was actually buzzed for a period of time, right? Now, my take on that is, yeah, I noticed that, and I figured that people were going to say that. And the referee, I do believe, was Lawrence Cole, I think he did the same thing for Ugas by taking Ugas over to a doctor to get his eye checked out the first time, because he was really getting punished heavily, and it allowed him to, take a second and recoup. So without a doubt, having that broken up and rinsing your mouthpiece out and all that is time to cover up. It's time to recover. But at the same time, I don't think it was so severe that, it warrants any type of controversy, because there literally was a break in the action. And the break in the action was when the ref stopped it. It's in the rules. It is what it is. But it was just a really interesting observation. Now, as far as the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight, Teddy Atlas is staying by what he said about him believing that Terence Crawford is going to beat Errol Spence Jr. Now, what he said that, after this fight, and this is the best that he has seen Errol Spence Jr. look in his career, he said, but still, and he says that he understands that a lot of boxing writers and, the bookies are going to make Errol Spence Jr. the favorite going into that fight, being the type of pressure fighter that he is, being the bigger, stronger guy than Terence Crawford is. But Teddy Atlas says that for him, he's taking Terence Crawford because he thinks Terence Crawford has the ability to, what did he say? It was creativity or his instincts is what he said. He said that Terence Crawford's instincts in the ring, he's never seen anybody with better instincts in the ring. And then he believes that Terence Crawford's instincts are going to allow him to overcome and beat Errol Spence Jr. Now, he didn't get into a lot of detail about what that means. However, like I said in many of the videos, I personally don't see it. And I will make an admission in a minute that I am not going to be as good as breaking down fights as a longtime trainer and expert like Teddy Atlas. Now, I do believe that Teddy Atlas, similar to Roy Jones, similar to Tim Bradley, I also believe that those guys have been around Terence Crawford a lot, and they have covered a lot of Terence Crawford fights in person. Now, I'm not saying that is going to make those guys biased or not. I just think that there is a certain amount of exposure that they have had to Terence Crawford, and where they have been able to see more of Terence Crawford than they may have been able to see of Errol Spence Jr. in person. Now, my thing is with Teddy Atlas, though, is look, man, and I've said this with everybody that is picked that says, oh, Fanon, you're such a Errol hater. You're such a Bud hater. Man, you guys can kick rocks with that. Not hating on Bud. When I'm looking at that style, and this is something that is not inconsistent with what Teddy Atlas is saying. When you look at the styles of the fighters and you look at what they do in the ring, and they do on the ring in a fight in and a fight out basis, it is hard for me to see what Terence Crawford is going to do with Errol Spence Jr. when Errol Spence Jr. when he is strong, when he is in the best shape that he can be in, and when he is not giving you time, not giving you the time to think, and he is pouring on hundreds of punches around. Right now, the average is 73 punches around. That's a lot of punches and can easily go over 100 punches around. That type of work rate is something that is very, very difficult to overcome. And if Terence Crawford does not figure him out, does not figure out some way to land the big looping shot or whatever, or I wouldn't say looping shot, but I shouldn't say looping shot, the big shot that's going to catch him and hurt him, I just think that he's going to be so far behind on the scorecards that he's going to need that to win. And Errol's not really big into making a lot of mistakes. Now, the instincts and all of that stuff, also, when you're running at that type of level, you're running at that type of pace, your instincts, if you're talking about just when you're thinking and you're like, okay, let me do this, let me do that, my instinct is that this will work. Or you talking about, just instantaneous reactions where it's like you're not thinking about it, that type of situation, it'll just be real interesting to see. But Teddy Atlas, his viewpoint on it is that Terence Crawford is going to have the instincts to overcome Errol Spence Jr. and that, but though without really pointing to any of the weaknesses of Errol Spence or what he'd be able to exploit specifically, because he said he was going to wait until later down the road till that fight is actually made to do that breakdown. And I can't wait to hear it, man, because like I said, it's not unreasonable for people to think that Terence Crawford can win that fight. I just have a hard time seeing it based off what I've seen from Errol and what I've seen from Terence, and also Errol Spence Jr.'s attitude about the fight, which is, yeah, I did okay, but the next time you see me, I'll be a lot better. So him coming off that 17-month, coming off that, 17th month layoff and still doing that to your Denis Ugas, I think that you're going to see something even more severe where in a more sharp and planned and precise Errol Spence Jr. against Terence Crawford. And it's just going to be easy to see, interesting to see how that turns out. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.